All right, hello and welcome back to another episode of Taste Kitchen. I'm your host, Paul Barron. And today we're going to be diving into what I think are the most, and not only me, but also our guest, have put together a list of some of the most underrated wines for 2021. So what I mean by that is this is the list you should be looking at that maybe didn't make Wine Spectator's top 100 or in the top 20. And it's a group of wines that I've had a chance to see, taste, and experience over the years. And also I thought, hey, what better idea than to bring in one of our past sommeliers, Jesse Brantley, who is of King Estate Winery. Great to have you back on the show, Jesse.
Great to be here, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so your expertise awed our audience the last time we had you on, so I want to definitely kind of bring you back into this list because I think this is a great opportunity to kind of share with our audience whether you're a beverage buyer or maybe you're an enthusiast out there today thinking, what should I look at this year to explore? We're going to give you that list today. So first, we're going to kick it off. And then I've got a few, and then Jesse has some that we're going to jump into. And then we also have two really cool King Estate wines right here in front of me that we're going to actually taste that are also on our list today. So let's kick it off with our first, or my first wine pick, which is the Mount Veeder Winery Cabernet Sauvignon. This is, of course, a Napa Valley wine. 2017. This is number 58 on this year's Wine Spectator list. I kind of thought this should have been a little higher. That's beside the point. But the reason I picked this for you is this is a $38 wine that I think it also scores in the 90s. It's a 93 pointer. And I think this is one of those values on the Wine Spectator list that kind of got overlooked. Jesse, what are your thoughts on this one? Do you know a little bit about this one?
I would agree. From Napa Valley, some of my favorite wines are always the mountain-grown fruit. And Mount Veeder is known for having those concentrated, complex flavors. And at a $38, $39 price point, it's really a steal for what you get in that bottle. It's so delicious and richly complexed.
Yeah. If you like kind of fruit-forward flavors, this kind of wine is going to really play into you. It also has a little bit of a sweet spice to it. There also are some back notes on this wine. I've had this wine before, and I wouldn't put it on my top 10 list of best wines, but I would definitely put it on a list of wines that if I was talking to a friend and that maybe they were new into wine and wanting to really kind of expand, this would be one I would go to. Let's jump to my next pick for this year's list, and that is the Mercer Cabernet Sauvignon. This is the Horse Heaven Hills Mercer Brothers variety. Probably the best value under 20 bucks today, bar none. 90 points out of this little baby, and you're spending 20 bucks. I mean, who cannot put $20 in a wine? Jesse, what do you think about this one?
I fully agree, Paul. Coming from Horse Heaven Hills, these are some of the original plantings in Washington and Columbia Valley, and just so much beautiful expressive fruit. I can't believe they were able to bring it to market at $20. And this is one of those bottles that will be a crowd pleaser from your wine snob friends to your newly just learning about wine. Everyone will find something they like in this bottle, and you just can't beat that quality at that price point.
Yeah. The other thing that was kind of unique about this wine is I'm starting to see it on some restaurant menus, and I had never seen this wine show up on restaurant menus before, and I really started to kind of take notice. And I think it's one of those that it has a little bit more of some tannins to it, so it does give some structure to it. There's also kind of this, I don't know, it's more of a warm and good feeling wine, if you can kind of picture that when you're tasting wine. You have some that have that real sweet finish. You have some that kind of taste almost like, have that earthiness. This one has more of a warmness to it, which I was really impressed with. And again, for $20, you can't hardly mess with that one. Let's move to my third pick, which is the Stoller Pinot Noir. This is right in your backyard, Jesse. So
yeah, absolutely. Just a
in the
little north
Willamette
of us.
Valley.
Beautiful property, high quality vineyards. They've been really great stewards of the land, which brings them fantastic quality fruits. So you can always look to Stoller for high quality Pinot, high quality Chardonnay. And really at that price point, it represents everything that Willamette Valley Pinot should and a little extra. I mean, it's just a beautiful, well-crafted bottle and showcases all of those beautiful red tones fruit and all that earthy layer that you want on the table from Willamette Valley.
yeah, again, this is another $20 wine for you. Score is 90 points on this one. And again, probably another good pick for you if you're trying to build, you know, a reasonable wine list that's approachable in your restaurant. Because a lot of times when you go into wine lists that start to go over the $100 mark, you are starting to kind of push into more of an enthusiast or a wine snob area, at least at a restaurant. Obviously, there's wines out there, you know, I've seen guys drop, you know, thousands of dollars on one bottle, and, you know, it's definitely there. But for those who are trying to really kind of, you know, serve the public that has a little bit more intrepidness toward checking out new things other than the wines they typically get into, this might be a good one for your wine list. So definitely a watcher for this year. One I think that is really going to kind of show up on some lists. The Delas St. Joseph White Le Challeys. This is a great wine also. The reason I put this one on my list is it kind of moves you into the higher end. It's going up to 35 bucks a bottle. But this is a 94-point wine, and it's one of those that I think it just brings a different level of taste profiles to what you're doing. Now, you do have to be cautious on this one with pairing it with certain kinds of fruit. I would go a little bit more toward maybe seafood or light fare, maybe an Italian, things of that nature. So if your lists are out there, that might be something to kind of think about. Your thoughts on this one, Jesse?
I'm a huge fan of Grenache Blanc. It has a nice weight to the mid palate where you can really pair it with a nice range of foods. And this is a good one to really start to explore that region if it's new to you. Many of us know the reds, but the whites are also endlessly exciting to explore. And really, in a restaurant, this is a great one to put down on a table as a crowd pleaser. I think your Chardonnay drinkers are going to get that roundness and fullness that they want from it. But even some of your Italian Pinot Grigio drinkers could also enjoy this because there's enough of that almost bitter, earthy minerality to this wine also. So it's really something fun to introduce to your tables in a restaurant too, because not everyone has experienced Grenache Blanc. So it's an opportunity to introduce your guest to something new also.
Yeah, and I think as you start to build your wine list, or maybe you're building your own wine cellar, and if you didn't get a chance to get a few cases out of the Wine Spectator Top 100, maybe these are some wines that you could start to look at and say, hey, let's buy, you know, a case or a few bottles, let's drop it in the cellar and let some of them kind of age up. The Klinker Brick Grenache Blanc Lodi. This is a 94-point wine that also made it to the Wine Spectator Top 100. And this was a $15 wine, which I don't know that I've ever seen a $15 wine on Spectator's Top 100. So that got my attention. I did not and have not tasted this, full disclosure, but any $15 wine that makes the Top 100 of Wine Spectator, I thought, hey, this has got to be a sleeper and that is bound for some destiny of greatness here. Do you have any notes on this one, Jesse?
I haven't tasted it myself, but this is always fun on a list to have a domestic version of a grape and the old world version of the grape to really introduce the guests to two different styles when you're playing with a new grape. So I haven't tried this wine, but I'm excited to. And like you, with $15, I mean, that's a price point that you can't pass up. And I'm sure there's something nice in that bottle since they made it on the list, and I can't wait to try it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so the fun stuff is that we get a chance to talk about your picks now, and I'm going to kind of let you kind of take it from here. Tell me what your first pick was, kind of your thoughts on why you put it on the list.
Sure. So my first pick is a Matteo Correggia Barbera de Alba. So this comes from Piedmont, one of my favorite regions. But this is one of those grapes that's not their premier grape. It's not a Barolo. It's not a Barbaresco. It's not even made from Nebbiolo. It's actually Barbera. And this is a great producer out of Roero. They're a family-owned winery, has a really endearing story. But end of the day, the wine is fantastic. And it's a great bottle to grab when you want something from Piedmont and you don't want to break the bank. Barbera is really juicy, dark fruited, doesn't have those big firm tannins of Nebbiolo, so you're not necessarily going to throw it down in the cellar and age it. But the Correggia Barbera de Alba is a great bottle to grab to put on your table with pizza, pasta, or just an evening in front of the television on your couch. It's going to bring to you all those flavors of Piedmont, but without breaking the bank on the price point. So I love that Matteo Correggia Barbera de Alba, and I would definitely say if you haven't tried it, find yourself a bottle. It's widely distributed now in the United States, and it's a fun one to crack open and to put on your list and introduce guests to. I've been seeing it more and more in the Northwest and in the Southwest also. So it's a fun wine that I think that everyone should give it a try. The
Perfect.
next
I
wine
can't
I'm
wait
going
to
to move
try this
into
one.
is a fun little sparkling wine. You know, we think of Champagne as those premier sparklers, but there's all these other fun regions in France where you can find Crémants. So look for that on the label, a Crémant, and you can often find a delicious bottle of traditional method sparkling for around $15 or $20. One of my favorite Crémant de Jura is the Trousseau. I'm sorry, not Trousseau, Tissot. Trousseau is actually one of the grapes in it. But it's a sparkling rosé. It's about $26, and it just brings so much juicy fruit and spice to the bottle. So always check out those Crémants when you're wanting to put a sparkling either by the glass or the bottle on your list, and you can find some really amazing quality at lower price points. The other bottle that I chose for my list is the Stolpman Estate Syrah. So this is a fun little area in Central Coast where they're making fantastic Syrah. This is nudging the price point up just a little bit towards $30, $35. But Ballard Canyon is this really special little region within Central Coast where there's some producers really bringing some amazing domestic Syrah to the table. So try that Stolpman Estate Syrah for another underrated bottle. Really drinking as beautiful as some of the Northern Rhone Syrah. And really, I think it's one to give it a try. So those are my 3 underrated wines from 2020 that you should try. But I'm excited to share with you a little bit about what's been going on at King Estate.
Yeah. What is up? Anything new?
Yes. One new thing I want to tell you about is our 2016 Brut Cuvée. It's a new sparkling wine that we've released, and we haven't released one since 2008. It's traditional method. It has Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. And it's going to be available in the national market at about $40 a bottle. So really great price point.
That'd be good
fun
value.
Sparkling wine. And a new category that is really beautiful coming out of Oregon is sparkling wine. Also, the other category that I brought to pour today is King Estate Sauvignon Blanc. Now, not many of you may have tried an Oregon Sauvignon Blanc. It's a tiny little category that's starting to edge itself into the market. And we'll pour this one first. This is the 2019 King Estate Sauvignon Blanc, and this is available in the national market. The standard retail price is right at about $20, so it's a great wholesale price that you could definitely bring onto your restaurant list and serve by the glass. This is our Oregon Sauvignon Blanc, so there's only about 70 acres planted to Sauvignon Blanc right now in Oregon, so it's hard to get enough to even produce a wine to distribute nationally, but we were able to do it in 2019. And when you dip your nose in that glass, you'll just get that beautiful balance of fruit with just an underlaying herbaceousness. Different than a New Zealand style, very different than a California style, very much its own Oregon style, drinking more similar to a Loire Valley or French style Sauvignon Blanc. Yeah. And our winemakers really wanted to dial in the balance of that aromatics, and they did a half ferment in concrete and a half fermentation in stainless steel, and even at different temperatures. And that's how they were really able to arrive at that perfect balance of fruit, just that little bit of herbaceousness, but not to where it's over the top. So I'm going to give it a little sip, and let me know what you think about it, Paul.
Well, the aroma on this one is fantastic. This is one that it kind of brings back memories to me, because I will every once in a while we'll grab a Sauvignon Blanc like on a brunch or something of that nature, and anytime I smell a great Sauvignon Blanc, it always starts to I don't know if it's just the way it kind of connects with my, cerebral cortex here or what, but it always seems to bring flashbacks. Of good things.
It just kind of lifts your spirits in the way that it jumps out of the glass. I feel the same way. It's, something exciting's about to happen because of the way all of those beautiful aromas just jump out at you.
Yeah, and not too sweet. I think this is a really good blend of grapes. This is an amazing taste. Really also, great finish.
Climate.
Great finish.
Yes, yeah, we have those cool nights.
Yeah, explain to me the process that this wine went through. You kind of touched on it there. That sounded a little different than what I've heard before for this type of wine. Why did you guys go in that direction?
Sure. So the winemakers really carefully considered the aromatics that they wanted from the wine, and even just the yeast you choose, the temperature of the fermentation, and the vessel can all impact those final flavors. So they knew they wanted to really dial down that overly green herbaceous note. And by doing that, they did a partial ferment that was a little bit warmer in our concrete egg. And this was really intended to focus on the fruit-driven aromatics. And the other fermentation was in a stainless steel tank at a much colder temperature to really bring that strong minerality and a little bit of that herbaceousness. And then at the end, they blended the two together to really arrive at that final aromatic balance that they wanted and flavor profile. And one great thing about this Sauvignon Blanc is we do have that richness and ripeness of the fruit, but we were able to keep all of that acidity to really balance it and make it pop on the palate. And that's really what you want for food also. And Sauvignon Blanc is great for very tricky food pairings. If you have a salad with a vinaigrette or you have a soup with a lot of vegetables and minestrone, a Sauvignon Blanc is always a great choice because it brings all of those difficult vegetable flavors together and really lifts them. So it's a great one to suggest to a crowd. It's great on its own. But the specific winemaking techniques that they chose were to really bring this balance. When you have a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, it can be very jalapeno pepper, very grapefruit, very kind of almost piercing and zesty. This is a little bit softer. It enters a little bit slower with the fruit, but still has all of those sort of herbaceous Sauvignon characteristics that you're looking for. And
yeah, I think this is a winner for sure.
Underrated because not everyone knows about it yet.
Well, hopefully they'll know about it now, but and also a great value. I like this one. All right, so this second bottle that you've brought to us, which is the Croft, this is your 2016. I like this. Yeah. This is interesting, the Sauvignon Blanc. I'm not sure if we've had this one before here in studio, but if not, we're gonna get a chance to taste it right here. Tell me a little bit about this wine.
This is one of our single vineyard wines that was really initially produced just for our wine club. So we only produce about 150 or 200 cases of these small production wines. And really with so little Croft Sauvignon Blanc available, it's about all we can make. But Croft is a single vineyard that we've sourced from since the beginning, since the early 90s. The plantings actually date back to 1985. It's an all organically farmed vineyard. And this Sauvignon Blanc is produced a little bit different. And you noted it's a 2016, which this is a 4-year, almost 5-year-old Sauvignon Blanc, which you don't always think about aging your whites. But in Oregon, with our cool climate and that bright acidity, it has everything you need to lay it down in the cellar and it will continue to age and evolve. And on this nose, it's still fresh. It's developed. It's certainly different than the first one we tasted. And this was also partially barrel fermented. So 25% of this was fermented in a French oak barrel, and the 75% was fermented in a stainless steel. And that's also something that can help set a white wine up for ageability because it actually takes on a little bit of tannin from the barrel that will help set it up for aging. And that adds a little bit of richness on even the nose. It's a little bit more focused. You certainly get that gooseberry, almost like a mango, very focused, piercing fruit layer to it.
I definitely pick up the mango.
It's just richer on the texture.
Yeah, interesting. All right, let's do a taste. Ooh, nice. This one is, wow, that's got a great finish to it as well. This is amazing. Now, when you look at building out your wine selections, your winemaker, every year as they start to kind of go into the strategy, I guess you're doing that many years in advance, but when you're looking at the next plan, what are some of the things that you guys are doing to try to say, okay, let's take a look at maybe whether it is a Sauvignon Blanc or a Pinot Noir or another variety? What is it that kind of directs you guys? Are you using any kind of consumer demand? Is it just something what you're talking to your retailers about, what they want? What is it that drives your decisions?
There's definitely a whole host of influences and choice and choosing what they're going to produce. But there was a lot of market research, and premium Sauvignon Blanc has been a growing category. And King Estate has always sort of forged the path in Oregon for premium white wines in addition to premium reds as well. They really made Pinot Gris a national distributed grape and stayed focused on higher quality expressions. And they've done the same with other white grapes as well. So they saw an opportunity with Sauvignon Blanc as an emerging category, and it became really a chance to define Oregon Sauvignon Blanc, which the winemakers found really exciting. And it's why they put so much thought into the winemaking techniques that went into this bottle. And they've also had a few years. They've been making the Croft single vineyard Sauvignon Blanc since 2015. So they knew it was a grape they enjoyed working with, and they knew there was demand. So definitely market research plays into it, but also listening to our customers and seeing what they enjoy, and our wine club members as well. Because often we'll start by making a small batch, 100, 200 cases of something, release it into our wine club, and they often enjoy it, and we get feedback that way. And the Croft Sauvignon Blanc is one over the years that continually was requested, and they opened up that program, and it was an opportunity to bring Oregon Sauvignon Blanc to you all the way in Florida.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely. Another winner for me. Where are we looking at this in terms of a price point for an enthusiast?
So this one is $26 a bottle, and currently it's available directly through the winery. We are looking to bring some of these smaller single vineyard wines to the on-premise category and to restaurants throughout. So that's something I'm working on personally. And if there were any restaurant operators directly interested, they can contact us at the winery, and we can work with bringing that into the state. But the 2019, the first one we tasted, is already widely available in the market now. But if there's interest in this, reach out to me, and we can certainly get it to you for your program. At $26 is the retail price, and then we could certainly see what makes sense for the wholesale list as well.
Yeah, for sure. We'll put some links in our description and also in the editorial that'll probably wrap this video, so you'll get some links to King Estate's website, and also over to Jesse for more information. Jesse, one last question. When, this year has kind of started off obviously with a bang for many reasons, but we have seen some very interesting trends around wine sales. Wine sales are up. We're starting to see a lot more education on wine, a lot more vineyards who are doing virtual events, tastings, much like what we're doing here today. Where do you see the wine business going for 2021? Do you feel like the restaurants are going to try to start to bring this back with more to-go product, or is this something that you feel is going to kind of fall over in the retail side of things?
I definitely think the to-go format is here to stay for a while. It's been interesting to see off-premise and on-premise almost merge a little bit in the way they're operating. But I definitely think the wine business is heading in a strong direction. We all need wine at home to enjoy. And while we're stuck at home, it's been a strong market. But I think as people feel comfortable emerging from their homes and going to restaurants, it's going to continue to grow. I think the lines are blurred a little bit now between off-premise and on-premise, but the to-go format is certainly here to stay. So I think we will continue to see more canned wines, more smaller format. The 375 format, the little half bottles, have been a great success this year. So we may start to see more of that. But I definitely think it's been fun to see the creativity with wineries and their virtual tastings, and for people just finding ways to connect with events. We've done a lot of really fun corporate parties even that we've hosted virtually, and even just family gatherings where we get to connect with you in your home and the families that are separated. So I think the wine business is heading in a strong direction. Everybody's definitely had to use that word this year, pivot, and be ready. But we've seen DTC growth in the wine sales with wineries directly, which has been huge. And also people are just continuing to order online, which is a great new channel for everyone to make sure that they're optimizing. So I'm very excited and hopeful for 2021, both for restaurants and wineries, and bringing all these to consumers in new and creative ways.
Yeah, for sure. I know quite a few people in the wine club business. We also have some of our friends over at Cooper's Hawk who have a great wine club and restaurant, and they've been kind of trending in that same direction. They're Their wine club activity is up. They're getting members at probably the largest increase they've seen in the past decade. So it's very interesting to see. I think consumers are back on it for going the direction of wine. Kind of craft beer had a little bit of its heyday a few years ago, and wine was kind of struggling. But I think now we've got these vineyards back in the right position to kind of grow forward. So it's going to be fun to watch. Jesse, it's been great having you on the show again today. Thank you so much for stopping in. We really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure, Paul. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to try these on your list that I haven't tasted yet.
They're going to be fun. They're going to be fun. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our most underrated list, and it's one that I hope you guys get a chance to take a stab at, whether you're an enthusiast or you are a restaurant owner that's looking to try to play with your wine menu this year. Maybe there's some on here that will make a great addition to you. And by the end of the year of 2021, we'll see where these wines stand out. And I think we are going to see a lot more somms and also editorial and publications really talking about some of these wines and how they may be moving up the list in terms of the top list out there for 2021. So get in early while you can. Make sure and stay tuned right here on Taste Kitchen and the Foodable Network for more great content. We'll catch you next time.